welcome to tonight's review, which I am calling the Winter is Coming In review. I mispronounced it, but it is a play off of Spring is Coming In. Kudos to anyone who goes and gets it. Well, probably no one will, but it's a joke. It's a riff off of medieval poetry. Yeah. I have some weird hobbies besides drinking beer. I don't have a TV, don't watch much of anything other than Jeopardy, so I have a lot of weird hobbies to fill the time. But enough about that. On to tonight's beer, which I am very happy to be reviewing. This is, of course, Anchor Brewing's Christmas Ale. Well, Winter Ale, I suppose, for 2016. Every year they go and redo the recipe and have it different for every year. And this particular year, it's actually a bit heavier than it has been for most of the previous years at 6.5 ABV. I've only previously reviewed this once. Only one store, only Whole Foods carries this on this side of the island. So it's actually a little bit hard for me to get my hands on. When I do, I go and pick it up. I picked up the second to the last one of this. It's only the middle of November, which kind of gives you an idea of the popularity of this beer. Let's read the label, shall we? This is the 42nd annual Our Special Ale from the brewers at Anchor. It is sold only from early November to mid-January. The ale's recipe is different every year, as is the tree on the label, but the intent with which we offer it remains the same: joy and celebration of the newness of life. Since ancient times, trees have symbolized the winter solstice, when the earth, with its seasons, appears born anew. This lone pine tree was found 1,000 miles from Omaha during the westbound construction of the Transcontinental Railroad. So I guess there's a 1,000-mile tree here. I guess this is some sort of historical tree. Anchor's really big on history. If I had my own brewery, I would probably be the same way. Kind of a history buff, if you haven't noticed. I've been letting this warm up a little bit because winter warmers are best when they're warmed up a little bit. Excuse me, still kind of getting over this nasal drip, a permanent nasal drip. So let's open this up and pour it out. Hopefully I got it at the right temperature. Don't want it too warm either, but just warm enough. Uh-oh. Nice light brown head. Coloration is very dark ruby brown. Light is only coming in on the bottom when I hold it up to the lamp. Just wonderful smells from the head here. Hints of gingerbread, fruitcake, blackstrap molasses, hints of floralness too. Underneath that, some char and brown bread. A lot of different malt as like a sort of backbone palate, a backbone smell, and all these other more fruity notes kind of floating above that. Hints of pine tree too, just ever so much. A little bit on the boozy side, you can tell even from the bouquet. Front is brown bread, dark chocolate. Medium roast coffee. Lighter notes of molasses and a sweetness on the tongue towards the mid palate. Oily feeling in the mouth, very chewy. Not as chewy as an imperial stout, but very chewy for a winter warmer, which is a moderately chewy sort of beer. Finish, just a hint of hops in the finish. Wood, malt note, toasty malt notes on the finish, and lots of like this ghost of sort of fruitiness. It reminds me quite a bit of my grandmother's fruitcake, which she used with for some reason it was darker than most fruitcakes. Most fruitcakes can have that sort of blonde to beigeish. Hers was very dark, almost like brown bread. Lots of effervescent notes. Lots of things that when you drink it, you sense up here and not on your tongue. Very Christmassy. With some other notes too. I'm really picking up a lot of licorice or anise, depending on how. Well, it could be either. Licorice I tend to think of as more earthy, and definitely with this malting, definitely could lean more towards black licorice than anisette. Definitely charred wood in the finish. Not overly much so. Charred wood, almost toasty bread, kind of shading in between those two there. It's sweet, but a little bit drier than previous years I've been. Almost some berry-like hints in that, effervescent part during the mid-palate. And it lingers into the finish. Again, nice backbone of molasses, brown bread, toastiness, charred wood, and all these more fruity, light, flowery notes in the effervescent part. Very interesting sort of combination there. There's a stark difference between what you feel on your tongue and what you're sensing up in your sinuses or nasal cavity. Well, honestly, an excellent beer. To tell the truth, I kind of preferred the ones earlier, mainly because they were just a little less boozy and a little bit lighter on the palate, so it came off as a little bit sweeter. This one, just a hair more boozy, hair more dry. Emphasizes a char just a little bit too much, in my opinion. Char tends to be the strongest note in the lasting finish. Again, all these criticisms here is me quibbling. All in all, this is an excellent beer, like just about everything Anchor puts out. This is me just quibbling with sort of like how I remember the holiday ale to be in previous years. Still going to be great. If I run into another six-pack of this, I am definitely still going to be picking it up. So if you live on the windward side of Hawaii, well, I'll be in competition with you for more of this, particularly once the Christmas party comes around. Winter warmers, generally, I don't really pair them with food, but they're a great after-dinner beverage, after dinner, before dessert. Because of my post-nasal drip, I'm kind of getting robbed a little bit of the wonderful interplay between the nose and the mouth part. Except when I do, kind of clear myself, I can get it right then and there. Just an absolute wonderful beer to sip and inhale at the same time. That's why I'm going to have another. But at 6.5 ABV, yeah, 2 is about going to be my max there. So, those of you in California, this is probably going to be easier to find. Definitely go out and get yourself some for the holidays. I'll definitely try to find another six-pack if I can. No guarantees. I'm kind of hoping that I'll be a little bit more cleared up by then. I know that some people might have problems with somebody who's suffering from a rather chronic post-nasal drip doing taste reviews, but I kind of try to clear myself up as much as possible, short of taking antihistamines, because you're not supposed to mix antihistamines and alcohol. And I believe I'm giving it a fair enough chance. I think I'm doing it justice here. If you disagree, I'll be glad to hear from you in the comments. But this is something I enjoy doing, and I really hope to keep on doing it for a good long time. Anchorstein Christmas Ale. That's your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.